Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being a supporter of this channel. In an exclusive interview today, I've spoken with a Ugandan diplomat, Dr. Patrick Lusinda, on what exactly is the reason behind Uhuru Kenyatta's frequent appearance with Museveni in Uganda. And of course, he's blowing our minds on Uhuru Kenyatta re-establishing his secretariat and basing it in Uganda. So we will delve more into that. Kindly make sure you watch to the end. But before you get to those details, I'm still reminding you that in this month of February, we are standing in the gap for these 7 women you're seeing on your screen. These 7 women are actually stranded in Mama Lucy Hospital after they delivered, but they had complications. Others didn't even manage to deliver, had ectopic pregnancy, it doesn't get to maturity, and the bills ballooned. As you know, or rather if you didn't know, when Uhuru Kenyatta left power, that Linda Mama that used to support these mothers was scaled down, and now it only pays 5,000. This information is very critical, even for you to know. So most of these women come from the slums, the Eastland slums, in the areas of Madare, Kayole, Dandora, and some the other side of Embakasi. So they have not been able to foot the bills, and the bills ballooned. So what we did, that we engage them, is that this is going to be a project. We are going to stand in the gap for these 7 women. And that is why I'm calling on you, and I'm just asking you, let's participate by sharing a 100 bob challenge just toward this. And I want to say thank you, deep from my heart. That I think this has been the most challenging, by the way, but again, the one that I've really seen a very good turnout. Many people coming. In fact, the number of people participating in this are more than any other challenge in the 100 bob challenge. So kindly let's show up. We are winding up tomorrow, so from tomorrow we'll start giving the breakdown. We are winding up tomorrow on Friday, and I promised them that we will deliver. So kindly let's participate and let's share, so that we paint a smile in their faces, because as Team Bond, we are not just sitting to complain and to say this is wrong and this is that, but in a little way we can be part of the solution. Now guys, I want us to look at this photo. This is the photo when Janet Katala Museveni, the wife to the Ugandan First Lady, received the former President Uhuru Kenyatta in Entebbe a day after he attended the swearing in DRC. And when he came from DRC, he disembarked in Uganda using the Ugandan Airlines. Remember that trip to DRC, he had used the Ugandan Airlines, and Kenyans were asking so many questions about it. And this hug and this reception has remained in the minds of many of our viewers here. Personally, I think I've always said Uhuru seems to have gotten a home. You know, it's a motherly reception. I don't know, after Uhuru Kenyatta left power, I don't know that he has received that much of the love from a neighboring country. That back home, that seems to be even lacking here. So this raised questions, and people are asking, does Uhuru stay in Uganda? What exactly, you know? And there seems to appear very clearly that Uhuru has gotten another beautiful home, a good place in Entebbe. Now, within the last 2 weeks, just after that, within the last 2 weeks, he has appeared in Uganda with Museveni for more than 2 times. And I want you to look at these 2 photos. Number one is this one. This was shared actually yesterday. If you critically look this photo, they didn't meet in State House, Uganda. This meeting was in sort of some city center. I've tried to ask some few Ugandan reporters who are really watching our videos about it, and they're saying seems to be some city hotel, because if you see whoever's in the background, you can see some woman in the background there. That woman looks like someone, you know, someone just running her own errands, and they just met in some place. Just the very, very day after this meeting, Uhuru Kenyatta met with Museveni again in Entebbe, now in the usual state house, in Museveni's state house. And he's been there. And someone tells me, by the Kenyans in Uganda can confirm, that when Uhuru Kenyatta is in Uganda, he roams in the city with full VIP treatment, high profile security details when he's running errands in Uganda. And you'll even confuse, you wouldn't know unless you go and check the number plate, the flag, because he has the East African and the Kenyan flag and Ugandan flag in the car. Then that will know that is a Kenyan, and that is Uhuru Kenyatta going there. So he is full security details, full VIP, both wake personal and Uganda wenye amepewa. So that tells you the stature and bit of what the kind of love he's getting from Uganda. Now, I tried to ask for this outlook because we know very well that Uhuru Kenyatta is the peace process facilitator in the East African community, especially on the DRC. And true to that, many have tried asking, why only Uganda? If this peace process is in DRC, there are other East African member countries that are also in it. You know, there are other countries, but why is it that Uhuru Kenyatta is establishing his base mostly in Uganda? And I asked Dr. Lucinda, and he gave me an outlook. I want you to, just some 4 pointers, some 4 outlook pointers that I want you to pay attention to. Number 1, he is saying that observers should understand something, that the headquarters for East African community is in Tanzania, Arusha. Okay? So if Uhuru Kenyatta is a peace facilitator and he is working within a track here in the East African community, then actually his base office could be in Arusha, Tanzania. Since he assumed that position, despite the fact that East African community, and actually he tells me that Uhuru could be having an office in Arusha, Tanzania. If he works within that, close to that secretariat, then you could have seen him there. So his other office, apart from the Kenyan office that will be available, should be available in Tanzania. But he's never seen in Arusha. He's never been seen in Arusha. I think he doesn't fancy Uganda. He doesn't fancy Tanzania. And even if you, the countries he has visited frequently are only Burundi, when the Burundian president was the chairman of the AAC, you remember? And then he's only now visited Uganda and the DRC Congo. Now, so that is one point that's come out clearly, that EAC headquarters are in Arusha. So it should also be more questions about why the Ugandan appearance is very special. Number 2 is that the chairperson of East African community now, remember that position is normally rotating, is now sitting Sudan President Salva Kiir. South Sudan President Salva Kiir is the current chair. Now, if indeed he is comparing notes with the leader of the East African community, then you would expect him to be in Sudan, in South Sudan. Now, in this peace process, it is very clear that Museveni doesn't play a role. He's not even a member of that. He's not even a member of that committee. He's not a member of that secretariat, or the peace secretariat. But it doesn't even play a role. Remember, even when during the Chekedi swearing in, Museveni did not attend. So that's one component. That's one observation. The third other observation is Uhuru Kenyatta is a former president in the Republic of Kenya who is indeed supposed to get a lot of support from the Kenyan government, Because as much as is in that position, he's also in that position in trust of country Kenya. You have not seen him and his office having a clear cooperation with Peter Mutuku Mathuki, who is the current secretary to the Summit of East African Heads of States, HESI in Kenya. That works under the Ministry of East African Community, now currently being led by Penine Malonza. I know the Waziri cannot meet the president because that will be a political, that will draw so much political interpretation. But he's pointing to me that you could also have seen, you must also have seen the president cooperating with the East African Community, secretary of the Summit of the Heads of State. So he's not even normally tagging along. And you will mostly see him with his other secretariat. Now, according to Mr. Patrick, Uhuru is not under any obligation. That's what he's understanding. He's not under any mandatory obligation to have his secretariat based in Kenya. It is not a must. He can have that secretariat in any other East African member countries' office. That is why when Raila Odinga was serving that UN peace, that UN infrastructure envoy, he used to have an office here in Kenya, in Egypt, and in DRC Congo. He used to have offices in those three countries. So even in the region here, Uhuru can choose to establish his office anywhere in the region, so long as it is around that peace process. But again, he seems to have gotten a place and established a base in Uganda, where he can run both his, possibly run his both personal errands and also such official duties in terms of the peace process. So, and of course, I just want to go straight in the light of all that, why Uhuru is shifting to Uganda. That's critically important. I want to point out that. But for that, I still want to remind you to subscribe to our channel and participate in our 100 Bob Challenge to support our stranded mothers. Number one, Kenya lacks neutrality in foreign peace policy. Kenya lacks neutrality, especially, specifically on this matter of DRC Congo. Recently, a week before the presidential election was held in DRC, there is some opposition caucus that working with the M23 rebels in Congo who launched a wave of some movement, River Nile, River Congo movement here in Serena Hotel, and it actually caused diplomatic wrangles between Kenya and DRC. DRC rumored to have even recalled their ambassador from Nairobi. And that really brought up. And that points out to one thing, that maybe Uhuru, the fact that Kenya is the anchor, Kenya, as much as he's carrying the Kenyan flag, but that doesn't give him the audacity. So seems to be very difficult even to coordinate, even to meet these wrangling parties, and now going on, he could be going the Museveni wave. And I want to say this. This current meetings with Museveni is happening in the wake of just days after Tshisekedi was sworn in DRC Congo. Tshisekedi is a personal friend to Uhuru Kenyatta, and after his swearing in, he met Uhuru Kenyatta personally in his official residence. And that photo was shared here. I think you can get it. He met Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, Museveni is having a very soft spot with Kagame. And Kagame has largely been blamed as the person to be behind the M23 rebels. Now, from what I'm seeing, Uhuru might be establishing a base and a very strong bond with Museveni to help Tshisekedi about this issue of M23 rebels. Because I think that's where there is a big problem. Maybe through Museveni, Uhuru is establishing to get a very good network and penetrate the M23 base just in part of pursuing the peace in Uganda. that is largely one of the key things why he's actually landing there. It is supporting the peace process, but ensuring that he penetrates the M23 rebels, which the DRC has largely been blaming on Kagame, and Kagame is also a very good network. Both Kagame and Museveni has been a punching bag for DRC Congo on this issue of M2023. That is on the peace work. Number two, on just as on individual grounds, Uhuru could also be wary of hawk-eyed intelligence planted around him. Yes, it's possible. When he's here, Uhuru has, the state has full surveillance, full-time surveillance on what Uhuru Kenyatta is doing, who Uhuru Kenyatta is meeting, who Uhuru Kenyatta is meeting, where Uhuru Kenyatta is sleeping, what he's doing, everything. They have full surveillance, intelligence dispatched around him. In fact, all those security details dispatched by the state are part of his intelligence. So he could still be making a way to come out of that. Now, number three is something that has been trending in this country. This is Kangali Politics. Kangali Politics is, I wanted to just briefly listen to this video. So this was William Ruto addressing some locals in his, somewhere in Rift Valley about that computer thing. Now, people have drawn Kangali Politics to mean the traditional politics of the Moi era and YK92 of disarming political, economic basis of your political opponents. I will look at this Kangali Politics deeply. I think I will have to do it. But then in this context, I just want to say that part of Kangali Politics 101 by William Ruto is to disarm, to make sure that you kill the economic empire of the former president, because that was part of the strategy by Moi to kill political opponents. So what Uhuru is doing, I think Uhuru has established Uganda as a gateway to his international business. I think Kenya has proved to be not to be a good neighbor, to say the truth. We've proved not to be a very good neighbor to Uganda in terms of how we've been conducting ourselves, the oil diplomacy, why Uganda is even opting then to use an alternative route, the Tanzanian route, despite the fact that it is not economically favorable for them. We've also been banning milk products from Uganda coming to Kenya. And that, all those were aimed, especially that was aimed to make sure that you kill the business empire that belongs to Uhuru Kenyatta, because Uhuru Kenyatta seems to have an investment on the other side. Even this this whole Rai war has also been linked to his close relationship with the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, who both have business interests both in Tanzania and Uganda. And because of this, he seems to be establishing. By the on a light note, someone was even pointing to me off informally that when people understood the decision by Uhuru Kenyatta to use Ugandan Airlines instead of Kenya Airways as a political messaging, but there could be a high possibility that Uhuru acquired some shares in that in Ugandan Airlines. It is highly possible. Yeah, people are saying, and maybe in the fullness of time, when God give us time and life, we may have to understand that maybe such was going on. There is a high possibility that Uhuru Kenyatta has huge business interest going international, but instead of then using Uganda, he's using Kenya is using Tanzania. Then number four, the Ugandan base also allows him to veer off from the political echoes in the country. Uhuru is a punching bag. Hey, punching bag to everything, and it seems to show that, yes, as much as I am being attacked, everything being said, I am being vilified, everything by the government in Kenya, as much as the government want to portray me as a bad person, but in Uganda, I am really welcomed, and I have another place. So that seems to be something on it. I can also see possibly that Uhuru is lobbying. The AU job is coming in the offing next year. Yeah, and you never know. He could still use this build this network, and this network could help for him to get that AU chairman position that Uhuru Kenyatta, that William Ruto allegedly was preferring Raila Odinga. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. Thank you very much. And you can also share with us on this. This is just an exclusive from a diplomat in Uganda, but you can also give us your take on this. Thank you.